Here is a statistic that might startle you. New Yorkers use 23 billion, that's with a B, plastic bags every year, the majority of which are sent to landfills. Some are left out on our streets, some you'll end up seeing stuck in the trees. Governor Andrew Cuomo proposed to ban single-use plastic bags by next year. But how would a plastic bag ban affect New York residents? The governor looks, among other things, to place a 10-cent fee on all carryout bags. Grocery stores would keep 20% of that fee to cover costs, while 80% would go to the State Environmental Protection Fund. As part of our ongoing multi-platform public media reporting initiative, Peril and Promise, the challenge of climate change, we'll take a look at the pros and cons of this proposal. And to do that, we're joined with politics reporter for The Observer, Medina Toure. Medina, welcome to you.
Thank you for having me.
So let's talk about this proposal and some in the past so we can compare them. There was one fairly recently passed, but it didn't get past the governor. What was that one? What were the terms of that one, and why did the governor have a problem with that?
Well, there's a very long history to this issue. So in 2016, the New York City Council passed a bill that would require a 5-cent fee for plastic or paper bags. And the fee, the money from that fee, would go to store owners, right? And it was a very contentious issue at the time. The bill was narrowly passed. 28 council members voted for it. 20 against. There were outer borough elected officials who were concerned about how this fee would impact low-income New Yorkers, people on fixed income, seniors. And in the end, the governor last year ended up vetoing that bill.
Talk about some of the terms and conditions of the new one, how they're different from ones in the past.
Right. So now in March, as I mentioned, the 2 Manhattan state senators introduced a bill that would ban plastic carryout bags and institute a 10-cent fee for all other types of bags. As part of that legislation.
So we're talking about all this, we're talking about anything, right? Any paper bags,
right,
everything.
Yes.
Okay.
And then 20% of the fee would go to stores, and then the rest of the 80% of the money from that fee would go towards a state environmental protection fund, which would fund localities cleanup, a reusable bag distribution with some priority for low-income New Yorkers on fixed income. And, there were SNAP recipients would be exempt. There were also various exemptions like in-store plastic bags.
Let me ask you about that, those exemptions, because you and I were talking about it a little bit before we started. And to me, and I don't live in the city, but I followed this, and I was looking at the list of exemptions here, and it seemed to me that there were an awful lot of exemptions. Talk a little bit about what types of bags would not then be banned under this proposal.
Okay. So just to bring us up to speed, the governor introduced his own version of the bill at the end of April, which is the most recent version. And under that, it would just be a ban on all single-use plastic bags at any point of sale. And so the exemptions under that are, in-store plastic bags for produce, vegetables, fruits, bulk items, bags for newspaper delivery, garment bags, trash bags, restaurants, taverns. So there are a whole range of exemptions here.
So it seems like, again, looking from the outside, that for the most part, and tell me if this makes sense to you, because you've covered this from the, it seems like for the most part, people watching us having this conversation would say, well, that's kind of all the ones that I would use on a daily basis will be exempt. Is that a fair calculus of this?
Yeah, and actually that's something that's been a point of concern for a lot of the environmental groups that have been pushing for a plastic bag ban for a long time. They feel like, well, just outright banning single-use plastic bags and then having all these exemptions isn't going to, reduce plastic bag use. And, there's a question of, well, people are still going to use paper bags. They're still going to use other types of bags. And, they point to, places like California and Chicago that charge fees for plastic or paper bags. They advocate for a more sophisticated form of a ban.
Let's talk about some of the pros and the cons. All right, for this bill. Let's start with the pros. What are some of the items that people are pointing to in support of this?
Well, one thing that people point to, we can start with New York City alone. New York City could stand to save $12.5 million in disposal costs. So the costs associated with litter collection programs, beach cleanup efforts, New York City residents, they use something like 9.37 billion disposable bags a year. The city's Department of Sanitation collects like an average of 1,700 tons.
The numbers are pretty staggering.
Waste. So, there's a financial impact. And, that $12.5 million figure according to the governor's office and many others, that doesn't include like the, cost of like local cleanup efforts. And, there's also the fact of, the raw materials and the natural resources that are used to make plastic bags. So there's and we were also talking about the issue here of, plastic bags getting stuck in trees, waterways being clogged, neighborhoods being littered. So there's environmental and financial benefits.
How about the other side? What are folks who are objecting to this saying in terms of reasons why it should not be passed?
Well, I did point to one form of opposition, which is that this doesn't go far enough, and that, banning plastic bags alone doesn't mean that people are going to stop using them. There needs to be stronger enforcement. But the other side of this is just the financial impact. There are still, some elected officials and New Yorkers were saying, I don't want to have this additional fee.
Well, as always, it's New York politics. There's always a lot going on for folks to wrestle with. But we appreciate you spending some time with us, Medina. We hope you come back and talk a little bit more about this as that moves forward.
Definitely. Thank you for having me.
Thanks for joining us. You take care now.